Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are having a great day today. For this week's video, we're going to be busting some misconceptions about guitar pickups. Let's get started. So today we're going to be using the same guitar with the same strings, with the same pickups, set to the same height. All the variables we're going to try to eliminate, and all we're going to do is switch out AlNiCo magnets for ceramics. So why exactly am I making this video? Well, if you're a new player or just anybody looking to upgrade their pickups, you need to have accurate and reliable and verifiable information about the products you're going to choose. And unfortunately, what's online is not always that. So what I did is I hit up some main forums, did some searches, and hit up some main manufacturers' websites. And here are some of the adjectives I found that were used to describe AlNiCo versus ceramic. So let's start with ceramic first. So here's how ceramic pickups were described online. Thin, harsh, bright, powerful, sharp, lots of attack, cold, best for high gain, lots of treble, artificial sounding, brittle, and modern voiced. Now let's contrast that with some of the descriptors of AlNiCo pickups. So here's how online in forums they were described. Smooth and warm, sweet sounding, very natural, vintage, mellow, round, and dynamic. So if you were on the lookout for new pickups or a new guitar, would you want something described as harsh and brittle and bright and thin? Or would you want something smooth and warm and sweet and vintage? So these are the descriptors that you can find online. And I gotta tell you guys, we gotta bust this right away. It's absolutely false. Now you guys, we need to absolutely stop using those kind of descriptions when we talk about ceramic pickups. And it's false to the point where I think, some of those adjectives that were describing AlNiCo pickups on forums and websites and stuff apply more to ceramic pickups than they actually do to AlNiCo pickups. If you've been subscribed to the channel for a long time, you'll know this because we do, Mexican guitars versus American. That's classic AlNiCo versus ceramic, right? And the Mexican ones sound bigger, warmer, fatter, better for blues and jazz. And the AlNiCo pickups cut. They're better for vintage kind of sounds. That classic chime, that high-end chime, right? But they don't have a lot of body. They don't have a lot of roundness to them. And so that smooth, round, mellow kind of tone is way more aptly used when we talk about ceramic pickups. Now, before we swap out the magnets in our Tele here, let's get primed with a couple classic examples. So let's do American Strat versus Mexican Strat, little 10-second clips. Let's check them out. Now, a couple weeks back, I did a comparison between a Fender Telecaster and a G&L ASAT. Same thing, the Tele had AlNiCos, the G&L had ceramic-based pickups. So if you missed that one, check it out. I'll put a link to that one above. But anyway, let's listen to a quick 10-second clip of those two guitars. So after listening to those quick clips, it honestly boggles my mind how people still will repeat the same thing over and over and over again. And obviously when you listen to those, in no way were they thin or harsh or bright. They were powerful, so that's an accurate one. Sharper, which is again a more descriptive word for maybe attack or treble, depending on what the person meant. Colder, definitely not. Best for high gain, possibly. AlNiCos sound absolutely fantastic in high gain too, so we'll talk about where some of these things come from. Lots of treble, definitely not. Artificial sounding, definitely not. Brittle, no. Modern voiced, debatable. I think either pickup, depending on the pickup's construction, it goes well beyond just what magnets are used. It could be either or. All right, you guys, let's put the final nail in the coffin. So what we're gonna do is record our clips on the Tele here, dirty, clean, lead. We're gonna try to do it all and then swap out our bar magnets and see what the tonal difference is. So how exactly did this myth get started, and why is it perpetuated time and time and time and time again, decade after decade? Well, I could find 3 different reasons. First of all, ceramic magnets are super cheap and they can be found on very inexpensive pickups. So I got 3 Strat pickups for 15 bucks and I compared them up against Fender's most high-end pickups. If you missed that comparison, check it out. But anyway, it's basically, well, it looks like a fridge magnet just glued to the bottom of a pickup, right? So cheap pickups must equal cheap sound. Simply not true, but that's one of the reasons. Now, secondly, and I think where most of the stereotyping comes from, is in the 70s, guitarists were hot rodding their AlNiCo pickups. So they would take very powerful ceramic magnets, put them on the bottom of AlNiCo pickups in order to juice their amp, really get some serious signal. And the pickups and the winding and the wires and the construction, they weren't made for ceramic magnets, right? So it was just like a Frankenstein pickup. And people were doing this, and I bet you that it sounded harsh and brittle and super trebly and all those description words that I talked about at the beginning of the video. I think a lot of that has, roots in the 70s when people were just like hot rodding and making Frankenstein pickups. And thirdly, ceramic magnets are often used in active pickups. So I think that's another, genesis of where this myth came from. The early active pickups maybe didn't sound the best. Maybe they did sound compressed and thin and not very natural. And people were like, well, they use ceramic magnets. Ceramic magnets are no good. Now, like many things in life, it comes down to marketing and dollar bills. How are Fender and Gibson and some of the big makers, how are they going to sell the most pickups? They want to make the most profit, obviously. So you have to pick descriptive words that, instantly hook people. Vintage, warm, classic, natural sounding, all those words that they, associate with AlNiCo pickups that might be more aptly applied to ceramic pickups. But ceramic pickups are cheap to make. AlNiCo are more expensive, so maybe the margins are a little bit better there. Maybe they can sell them for more money, right? So anyway, it all comes down to marketing and how they can describe their pickups in the best light. Now, I much prefer what companies like Seymour Duncan and DiMarzio are doing. They're sort of doing away with some of those main cliche words, but they've gone to sort of an EQ profile, and they've done so for a while. And I think that's the best way. You can't just use subjective adjectives to describe sound. At a certain point that just breaks down and it's verifiably false. And since YouTube came out, people can prove all that marketing, that BS that's been going on for 50 years. You can just disprove that with a single video, right? So anyway, those companies are giving you an EQ profile and an output profile for each pickup. And I think that's a much, much better way to do it, better for the consumer and more accurate. Now, if there's any other myths that you would like me to tackle to see if they're true or false, let me know in the comments below. Now, I've already done maple versus rosewood fingerboard, so check that one out. But if there's any other ones that you guys can think of that you'd like me to tackle, definitely let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's topic. All my information will be on the screen right now, so you feel free to check that out. Other than that, we'll see you next week with a new video. Take care.